Hey, welcome back to Dad Space. It's Dave, your host here. Nice to have you here. Welcome back. Episode 168, Dads. Please, be sure to invest in your family. Why relational equity matters is the title of the episode, and you press play, so you're here. I'm here. Let's jump in. I'm excited for this. Today, so the whole topic of equity is really prevalent for us right now in our home. If you haven't heard the story, I'm going to share with you a little bit. When our kids were little, tiny, we set out a plan, my wife and I. We have 3 children, and now they're out of the house, empty nester. They're gone, right? They're out of here. And they're all living their life and doing their thing. In Canada right now, where we live, the idea of somebody in their 20s being able to afford a down payment on a house, where we live, it takes about 20 plus years to save up enough money to get a down payment for a house. It used to be 20, 25 years you could pay off your house. But now in our community where we live, in our part of the world, it takes 20 to 25 years to get the down payment to even start to pay for a house. So you're looking at like 50 years of payments to secure a house. Now, that wasn't always like that for our community and where we live. It used to be, again, like I said, you could buy a house in 25 years, pay it off. So going back, when our kids were little, my wife and I sat down and said, what can we do in the future to provide for our kids? And we decided to use the equity in our home to purchase property for our kids. So our goal was we kind of set this on ourselves. Nobody made us sign up for this. We did this ourselves. We said, well, we have 3 kids. We have our home. Let's get 3 other properties, 1 for each of them. And then that'll be something they will have hopefully by the time it goes to them, it's going to be paid for. So they could A, live there, or B, have it as a rental property, and they could start their journey and leverage the equity from their property, which will go to them to then buy their own home or buy another rental property, whatever their path is. But at least they'll have something. And that'll be our legacy for them to give them a better start. So that was the goal. So over the last 28 years, we've been building up equity quietly in the background, paying our mortgage, living in our house, making improvements. And then we bought our first rental. Had that for about 10 years. Then we took some money out of that place, bought our next one. And then within 6 months, we bought another one. So we have technically 4 places, our home and 3 rental properties. So for our kids, when my wife Jen and I are gone, our kids will be starting at a different place than where we started. What they do with that, we won't be here to guide them. We're going to entrust that they're going to use this in a great way, and it'll be a great start for them. But the idea is that you can start small and leverage the equity in your home to create your legacy for your kids. So again, if you're a new dad, a new parent, and you look at that little bundle of joy that's cooing in the corner, you're like, we should start now. That would be my encouragement for you, is for you 2 things. Be careful with your debts. Be careful with credit cards and expensive cell phones and expensive cars. All those things depreciate in value. They go down. They don't improve. You don't make money from them. They generally go down in value. For us, we decided to go with property, because property generally, in general terms, goes up in value. As you pay it down, the value goes up, and then the gap between what you owe and what you've paid, that gap becomes equity. And that equity you can then leverage to buy more property. And that's how we did this. So my wife and I, we've been talking equity like all the time in this whole process. And happy to say we finally met our goal like 25, 27 years later. So it's been a long journey. You're like, oh my gosh, Dave, you must be like floating in money. Well, no. This week alone, both of our cars broke down. So, or needed major repairs and major work done. So this is a very expensive week for us. So we don't have a large bank account. I hear people talking about, oh, I'm a 6-figure blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, that'd be nice. We're nowhere close to that. So our investment is in our kids for the future, and the equity will become their equity, and it just creates this next level for them. And again, what they do with that and their kids and their kids' kids, and we'll be long gone. We won't be here to know. But we wanted to do something for our kids. And it's so cool to kind of see all this come to fruition, come to a result, a finish line. And it's exciting. It's a lot of work, but it's really exciting to see it all fall into place. And we're getting really good at flipping houses and getting them ready and having tenants move in. And we're landlords and we're renting these properties out. Tenants are paying for the units, and so the mortgages are being paid by someone else. It's all working really well, and it's kind of nice to see how this all fits together. If you've ever been interested in this, it's called equity lending, is where we kind of focused on. We went and got a mortgage broker. If you're in Canada and you want one, let me know. I've got a great guy that would love to work with you. I don't make any money, by the way, by recommending him, but send me an email. I'll send you his contact information. He works remote. He can work with anybody. So let me know. But anyways, it's equity lending. And what I love about it is there's some money you put down, but for the most part, your property just gives you the ability to buy additional properties. So it's really interesting. We've learned a lot. But again, the most common word that we've been using in the last 5 years, 10 years, is all around equity. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, how can we relate that to us as dads? And what kind of relational equity are we building in our homes with our family? Because there's a return on investment as we build the relational equity in our homes. How we treat our kids, how we treat our partner, how we provide a home environment for our kids. And I thought there's got to be a parallel between kind of a real estate point of view of equity, and then for us as dads, how equity can be displayed within our homes, and specific to the relationships that we have with our kids. I think there's an opportunity here to kind of focus in on this and maybe unpack this for ourselves. So there's 4 things I kind of want to talk about today with you, and information will be in the notes as well for you to check it out. But there's 4 things that I think we could do to build a relational equity within our homes as a dad, which then can provide results for the future, for our kids with their kids, and so on, with our kids and their partners. I think there's something to be learned here. So there's 4 things. We can talk about being present and engaged with our kids and our family, how communication can be a relational equity piece that grows over time, and how establishing rituals and traditions could also play a part in building a relational equity within our home, and then how we as dads lead by example and show affection can be a strong pillar of relational equity in our homes. So let's get to work. Let's dive into this. I'm really excited to have you here, and let's chat about this a little bit more. Thanks for being here. My wife sat down with her boss and said, does it seem weird that we have 4 different properties? And her boss is like, it's amazing, but it's a little different. And for us, it's normal because we've been living this for so long, and that slow burn of equity, to us, it's just kind of been like this natural thing. We set the goal, we reach the goal, and we're happy that we're here. But when we talk to other people about this, it's interesting because for others, this just seems crazy that this is even a possibility that we could have all these properties. But as we build this equity within our homes, it just opens so many doors for us. And like I said at the beginning, I think building equity into our family opens doors and opportunities for us by building up a relational family unit that provides a return on all the time and effort we put into raising this family that we've been entrusted with. So my encouragement for you as we kind of go through these 4 points is, how can you deepen your relationships within your home so that equity is built over time with your kids so that everyone benefits? I think there's a lot of things we can learn here. Let's talk about the first part, just about us, how we show up as dads in our homes. And that simply by being present and engaged with our kids, we can build equity into our relationships just by showing up, being present, and being engaged. I know when I talk to dads that life is full of distractions, full of opportunities that pull us away from our family. Going golfing with the boys, going to play softball, some pickup hockey after work, hanging out at the bar, whatever. Football, right? There's all these things that pull us away from time with our families. There's our phones. There's the internet. There's gaming. There's movies. There's a ton of opportunities for us to find something other things to do than hang out with our kids. And I think that these distractions can actually eat away at the relational equity that we should be building with our kids, with our partner, in our homes. These distractions, they really help or hinder, actually, to our ability to actively listen to our family and fully participate in family activities. When you're looking over the shoulder of your kids to see the football game on the screen, when you're telling people to shh, quiet, I'm watching the movie, and the kids just kind of wander off to their rooms, I think we're missing an opportunity to build that equity in the relationships within our home just by falling prey to all the distractions in our way. So my question to you is there anything that you're doing that you find as a default excuse to not interact with your kids, to not be there in the home, to not be present? What is it for you? I think all of us have something a little bit different for each of us that kind of takes us away. And sometimes we need that diversion. We need something to take us outside of who we are and give us a different perspective. But when it becomes something that replaces time with our kids, I'm wondering if we're doing more harm by pursuing our favorite pursuits and the things that we love at the expense of our family. I think we need to help create a sense of connection and belonging by us simply just being present and being engaged. I love a quote that I heard, something along the lines of, wherever you are, be all there. And I think as dads, sometimes we are at a recital, at a basketball game for our kids playing, or at a hockey game, a football game, whatever. We're there, but we're not really all there. We're like on our phone, or we're in the building, we're in the area, but we're not really a part of it. And often we kind of just come home from work. The kids are in their room doing their thing, or partner's doing something else, and we just kind of all find our spots, and we just all go to our spots. And there's times where we don't even talk to each other. And I'm curious about how present you are in this moment today. How engaged are you with your kids? Do they feel it? Do they see it? Do they sense it from you? I think the more we pour into our kids and the more present we are in the moments and our engagement is deep, that relational equity that we talk about, that can turn into equity for our kids in the future, is built up because we're investing in our time with them and creating this space. So be present, be engaged, and pour into your kids at the expense of some of the selfish things that we get caught up in. Again, it's okay to have these pursuits, but where's the balance in all of this? So my question to you, is there anything taking you away from time with your family that you could probably lessen, do less of, so that you have more time with your family to be present? That's a question for you to look at and to consider. The second one is how we communicate within our home can lead to relational equity. So let's talk about that. So you come home, your teenager walks by you. Hey, how was your day? Good, good. And we're off. That's it. That's it. That's the conversation for the day. Hey, did you get your homework done? Yep. Okay. It's time for dinner. Have a good night. There's your evening. And I'm wondering if our kids need more from us. How is the communication within your home? With your kids, your partner? Like, is it a one-way street? You're offering up the communication, but you're not getting anything back? Your kids are offering up the communication to you, but you're not giving back? How open is the dialogue within your house? If we were able to take the roof off your house for a second, and all of us could peer into your home and see the real you, not the Instagram you, the real you. Is everyone in separate rooms doing their own thing? Is everybody gathered together and doing life together? How effective is the communication in your home? How effective is the communication with you and your partner? I think that as we encourage open dialogue and avoid the yes and no questions in life, did you do your homework? Yes or no? It's time for supper. Let's go. Right? Like, we're missing that piece. And I know for our family, when our kids are growing up, we got away from the dining room table, everyone together, eating together, and everybody grabs a plate and goes off to different places and eats. And that's probably one of the things that we did wrong, is we didn't keep that going as long as possible. And as the kids got bigger and busier, that dining room table became a haven for flyers, newspapers, junk. A pile of stuff just took over what used to be our family, the center of our family. It became the center of our junk as we fill up that table because no one was using it. So now it becomes a default for everything else. Keep that dinner table alive as long as you can. I know it's great to grab your plate, go sit in the living room, throw on a TV show on Netflix or Prime and get lost. But the kids are in their bedrooms eating on their own. You and your partner are in the living room, and you're all in different spots. Keep that dining room table as much as you can. Hold on to it as long as you can. Because there's going to be a day when that table has no purpose anymore. Our dining room table hasn't been used in years because our kids are gone. It's almost to the point where we don't even need it in the kitchen. It's just a junk collector now. And it used to be the hub of our communication. So my challenge to you is hold on to that dinner time conversation, lunchtime conversation, as long as you can. How is the communication in your home? Are you focused on deep conversation with your kids, meaningful conversations, or is it just kind of surface level, hallway passing conversations like you'd have with your coworkers at work? Is that what it feels like, or does it feel like a family? Deep, effective communication builds relational equity over time. So again, if we could rip the roof off your house and peer in from above, what would we see? How is the communication happening, if at all? And how can you make it better? And then the third thing, I think, is to establish or reestablish family rituals and traditions. Why is that important? I think it would really help you to build that relational equity. When was the last time you had fun with your family? Like together? When was the last time all of you were in the same vehicle? Going to do something? Something fun, something different, something exciting. When was the last time you just sprung this on the kids and took them somewhere and they had no idea where you're going? For us as our family, when our kids were younger, we would go spend the day dirt biking. We would spend the morning being trained by professionals. They would show us how to ride these bikes. And all 5 of us with 2 trainers would go hit the trails through the forest, going over logs, down deep hills, through mud, all this stuff. It was just so much fun. And we got to do something together. And the smiles on these kids' face, just so much fun. It was really a memorable thing to do. We didn't do it all the time. I wish we did it more. Now that our kids are gone and out of the house and they have their own partners, 5 of us has now become 8 of us. So that's hard to do. So it's a big challenge. So my encouragement for you is, while your kids are at home, before you become an empty nester, is to create as many opportunities as possible to establish some form of ritual, whether it's when you get together, how often you get together, when you get together, what do you do, and what kind of traditions do you have within your home? Birthdays you get together, or holidays, Father's Day, Mother's Day? What traditions do you have? By developing regular family activities and unique traditions, it creates shared memories for you and your kids. And it really helps to reinforce unity. Unity over a long period of time is equity. Equity that people can draw from. Any type of things you could do even when your kids are small. You got like a baby at home. Start now. Start building rituals into your bedtime, into storytelling, into game nights with your kids as they get older, puzzles, drawing, playtime. I'm telling you, as an empty nester, there's going to be a day where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Dave was right. Because your kids won't be there anymore. You're on your own, and they're gone and doing their own thing. So right now is the time to develop those rituals and traditions that your kids will remember long after you're gone. Start now. And then the last thing is all around how you, as a dad, can lead by example and show affection within your home. One of the things that some of the guys I talk to struggles at times with this is the whole idea of demonstrating positive traits like kindness and responsibility to their family within your own home, and expressing your love and support for your kids openly. This nurturing relationship that we have with our kids and with our partner is all around just spending quality time with your kids and your partner as a group, doing group things, but also selectively, individually, investing in them one-on-one. So when was the last time that you took out one of your kids and had a daddy-daughter date, or a mother-son date, or a dad-son adventure? Like, when was the last time you purposely scheduled something, pushed everything else out of the way, and made time for your kids? When my oldest was born, we would go out on Saturdays and let my wife just have the house, do whatever she wants in the morning. We would just get out of there. two of us would jump in the car. We go to watch like hockey practices at a local arena. My son loved watching hockey. So we watched the guys skate around or kids skate around. That was fun. We go to like McDonald's. He'd go play in the play area and I'd read the paper or whatever. And it was our time. It was our time to do something, just the two of us. And we'd get back home around lunch. My wife would be doing whatever she's doing. And it was kind of a break for her and time with my son. And I loved it. It was really fun. So for you, going back to the tradition thing and the rituals, can you create space in your week to have those moments that you're looking forward to and planning and thinking about during the week, and your kids are thinking about and planning for during the week? When I was growing up, my family always went out for dinner on Friday nights. Every Friday night was going out for dinner and grocery shopping. And I usually got a Hot Wheels as well. That was kind of the thing. So I knew at the end of the week when I was walking home from school, oh yeah, tonight we're going out for whatever. And it was like the coolest thing because it was like every single week. It was a family thing. We did it together. So we got dinner, we got our food, we got to go shopping, all of that one night. And it was our thing, right? So what is your thing? As your family grows, there's going to be less and less things because busyness is going to come in and activities and relationships are going to happen with your kids and other people. You're going to lose this over in a period of time. So my challenge for you is for you to show and lead by example in your home how you demonstrate your love for your kids through your rituals. Express your love and support for your kids openly. I think they need to see it. They need to see it demonstrated so they can mimic it and copy it when they have a family, because you set the foundation for that. Spend quality time with your kids individually and with your partner. And I think that is going to become part of your equity, a relationship equity that you can then leverage. Your kids can take what they've learned and seen demonstrated in their home and apply it to their family when it happens for them, based on what they've seen growing up with you. So you start with an initial investment. You start a family. And from the very beginning, you start planning for what's going to happen 18, 20 years from now. As you look at that new baby, you're walking out of the hospital for the first time. 18 to 20 years from now, you're going to be different. This little bundle's probably going to be bigger than you. And what can you do now to create legacy for your kids? And not just financial, but relationship-wise. What can you do today to start building that equity? So when it's time to take a withdrawal, when it's time to take a piece of that equity and take it out and then go with it and do something with it and reinvest that equity into their family as they become adults, what do your kids have from you and your partner that they can take from you and this relationship that they've had with you for the last 18 to 20 years living under your roof? What can they take with them and apply it to their future? Our kids have property, which is going to become theirs in the future. But on top, more important than that, is what have they learned from us over the last 20, 28 years? How can they take that and apply it to where they're going next? So that's my challenge for you. Be present, be engaged with your kids. Starts from the day you bring them home. Make sure your communication is effective. You're actually talking to each other. Establish rituals and traditions. Lead by example and show affection. And remember, You get one shot at this. You know nothing about being a dad when you have your first. You know a little bit more when you have more kids, but really, you're learning every day. Let your kids see you learn. I love the idea that the best teachers in life are the best students. Let your kids see you study parenting. Let your kids see you study and fail. Let your kids see you study and struggle. Let your kids see the reality of what it takes to be a parent. Don't hide it from them. Be a human in front of them and let them see you trying to find your way. Because that's going to mean more to them than some idea of a perfect father, which none of us are. Let them see all the warts and all the things and all the bad decisions. Let them see your good days, your bad days. And build that equity, that relational equity for your family. Start now. Because the longer you build this, the more equity you'll have. And then you have options. Equity equals options. In real estate, like we talked about at the beginning, but also in relationships. Equity equals options. When you don't have equity, you don't have options. So my challenge for you is to pour your heart, soul into building those relationships within your home so that everyone's relating to each other, everyone's growing, and that equity that's a result of all this love and effort will result in your kids having a different starting point than you ever had. So start building it now. Relationship equity in your home. It's my challenge for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. dadspace.ca. Let's reach out. I would love to have a conversation. Let me know. And I'd love to hear your story about how you're creating legacy for your kids, starting today. What are you doing? I'd love to learn from you as well. Hey, thanks for listening to Dad Space. Thanks for hanging out to the end of the podcast. That's a great sign to wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, fill in the blank, that this was a good podcast to send people to. So simply by listening to this point of the podcast, you're helping the show grow. So good on you. Thanks for helping us grow Dad Space. If you want to help us fill our cups over at Dad Space, head over to dadspace.ca. Dadspace.ca, simple website, right? Dadspace.ca. You can fill up our coffee cup, which helps us then to keep moving forward with the podcast and use our Buy Me a Coffee link over at dadspace.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for sharing. Because the more dads we can help, the better. We're all here to help each other grow in community. That's what it's all about. And without you, the podcast is pointless. There's no reason to do any of this. So you being here means everything. See you at dadspace.ca. Take care.